Why do the most innovative leaders and changemakers in the world ask more questions than provide answers? That's the central idea explored in Questions Are the Answer by Hal Gregersen. He believes the key to unlocking creativity, innovation, and progress lies in our ability to ask catalytic questions, those that challenge assumptions, break mental barriers, and open up new paths. This book is not just about asking any question, but the right kind that sparks movement in thought, leadership, and action. Gregersen, drawing on interviews with hundreds of top leaders and creators like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and many others, constructs a framework where the act of questioning becomes the foundational driver for meaningful change. In the beginning chapters, Gregersen sets the stage by explaining that questions, not answers, fuel innovation. The greatest discoveries didn't come from people who knew everything. They came from people who asked what no one else was asking. A key takeaway here is that answers are everywhere and easy to search online. But questions are rare, original, and powerful. They are what Google can't generate for you. Gregersen emphasizes that questions disrupt our default ways of thinking. They open doors in our brains we didn't even realize were closed. Leaders who innovate don't settle for answers. They live in the discomfort of not knowing and let it push them forward. Gregersen introduces what he calls question burst methodology. This is a practical, replicable process where a group of people spend a fixed amount of time generating as many questions as possible about a particular challenge without trying to answer them. No solutions, just curiosity. The result? Insights, breakthroughs, and fresh directions emerge that weren't possible when the group focused only on solving the problem. This is a deliberate way of forcing your brain to escape mental ruts. A key lesson here is that when we stay too close to our first assumptions, we rarely innovate. But when we suspend judgment and dwell in inquiry, creativity thrives. As the book moves forward, Gregersen discusses the courage to question. Asking disruptive questions often means challenging power, tradition, or the way things have always been done. It requires courage because it can make people uncomfortable. He shares examples of leaders who faced resistance but persevered by staying committed to the search for better questions. In this part of the book, we learn that questioning isn't always welcome. People in power often view questions as threats, but if we want to lead real change, we must become comfortable being uncomfortable. Real innovation happens when we push against the edge of what's acceptable. Another key concept Gregersen presents is living the questions. He draws from the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who wrote, "Live the questions now." This philosophy encourages embracing uncertainty rather than avoiding it. In business, education, and life, we often rush to solve things quickly. But Gregersen urges us to slow down and explore questions deeply. In doing so, we learn more, grow more, and uncover answers that have lasting impact. This chapter teaches us that innovation isn't a straight path, it's messy. And those who accept the messiness of questions and stay with them longer are the ones who emerge with real solutions. Gregersen also emphasizes the idea of reframing. Many breakthroughs come when we reframe the problem entirely. The classic example he offers is how Airbnb reframed the travel industry by asking, "What if people stayed in homes instead of hotels?" Or how Elon Musk reimagined space travel by asking, "Why does a rocket have to be disposable?" These leaders didn't solve old problems. They questioned the entire problem space. The key insight is, if you don't like the answers you're getting, maybe you're asking the wrong question. Change the question, and you change the future. In one of the most powerful sections, Gregersen explores how childhood curiosity is crushed by the structures of school and adulthood, and how reclaiming it is essential for success. Children ask hundreds of questions a day, but adults ask very few. Why? Because we're trained to prioritize answers over curiosity. This suppression is a tragedy, because it robs us of our natural capacity to wonder and explore. The lesson here is profound. Innovation is not about acquiring more knowledge. It's about reigniting the curious mindset we had as children. Great leaders cultivate environments where childlike curiosity is welcomed, not suppressed. The book also dives into how organizational culture plays a major role in fostering or killing questioning. In many corporations, there's a fear of asking hard questions. People don't want to appear ignorant, critical, or disruptive. Gregersen calls on leaders to build cultures of psychological safety, where it's not just allowed but encouraged to question the status quo. He points out that companies like Pixar and IDEO thrive because they embed questioning in their daily culture. A takeaway for leaders: if your team isn't asking hard questions, They're not solving hard problems either. Make questioning a norm, not an exception. Gregersen brings in neuroscience and behavioral psychology to explain why our brains resist questioning. It's uncomfortable. It requires mental energy. We're wired to seek certainty and reduce ambiguity. But innovation lives in ambiguity. The human brain prefers predictability because it saves energy. So, to ask more and better questions, we have to train ourselves to lean into mental discomfort. This is a skill, not just a trait. Just like muscles, our questioning ability grows with deliberate effort. The big lesson: if you want a more innovative mind, you have to build your tolerance for not knowing. Toward the end, the book becomes more practical. Gregersen offers tools to cultivate a questioning habit. Keep a question journal. Spend 4 minutes a day listing questions about your most pressing challenge. Practice the 4-24 rule. Spend 4 minutes coming up with 24 questions without stopping. Don't worry if the questions are silly or repetitive. It's about breaking through the obvious and arriving at the unexpected. He also suggests that leaders block out questioning time in their calendar the same way they'd block time for emails or meetings. Create space in your day for inquiry, not just execution. Gregersen also explores how personal transformation is driven by powerful self-questions. What am I afraid of asking? What belief is stopping me from growing? What problem am I pretending not to see? These questions cut through our protective layers and force honest introspection. Leaders who ask themselves the hard personal questions gain clarity and with it, power. One takeaway here is, leadership starts with inner inquiry. If you want to lead others, first learn to lead yourself through difficult self-reflection. The book closes with the idea that the future belongs to the questioners. In a world increasingly driven by AI and information overload, answers are abundant, but breakthroughs are scarce. Machines can give you facts, but only a human mind can craft a meaningful, catalytic question. Gregersen leaves readers with a challenge. Make questioning a core part of your identity. Don't just ask questions, live them, breathe them, and let them lead you into uncharted territory. The leaders, thinkers, and creators of tomorrow will not be the ones with the best answers, but the ones who dared to ask the boldest questions.